So the example that he uses, you have 3 people. One of them decides to start dieting and cuts back their calories by 150 a day. So they reduce their calories, they track it, they drop 150 calories a day. The second person does nothing, and the third person increases their calories by 150 a day. So they do that and they track them over time. So when they're getting started, the 3 of them are here and they're moving in the same direction, because 150 calories over a short period of time is not a big deal, right? You're not really gonna see a difference. If someone has a little bag of chips, not a big deal. But then you take 150 calories times 360 days, is 54,000 calories, divided by 3,500, which is how many is in a pound. That's 15 pounds over a year. So that one bag of chips a day that's 150 calories more than that person was eating is gonna be 15 pounds. You don't see that initially, but what starts to happen is you get to a point where it starts to separate, and all of a sudden, when you put the time together, now let's say this is 10 years. Okay, 0 to 10. 10 years times 15 pounds is 154 pounds. So at the 10-year mark, this person weighs 154 pounds more, this person could weigh 154 pounds less, and this person would be right where they are. And the reason that's important, that's the most visible way to look at it, is because this person that's done this over 10 years, like, it's very obvious, right? If you take them, picture them from 0, picture them from 10 years, you're gonna see the changes. But from a business standpoint, we're not talking about weight, we're talking about sales transactions, or people that we've helped buy or sell real estate, or impact that we've made. And it's really difficult to see when you break it down into how many people did I contact today or how many appointments did I go on. But when you look at the impact over time of the consistent actions, then you start to see those results. And you can take the weight loss, weight gain example and turn it into, what do I do over 10 years in my career, and what's the difference in 5 or 10 years based on the small behaviors? And I think we get caught up a lot in mindset, right? Because it does take thinking big. It takes thinking big to get to the ultimate destination. We have to think that we can get there and believe we can get there before we're actually going to get there. But I think what the compound effect does is it reminds us that it isn't just the thinking, it's the thinking plus the action, and the action is created by the habit. So the daily habit is what it breaks down to in order to see something that may not be visible for 3, 5, 10 years down the road. And that's the difference between coming in every day and making 10 contacts versus making 20 contacts. It doesn't feel like it's a huge difference, and it allows us to take a liberty maybe. I use that term in soccer all the time, my coach did, taking liberties. When you're taking a liberty and you have a goal that you've set, but you decide, no, I don't need to do that today. I'm gonna hit 14. And it doesn't feel like anything. And it's the same as the one bag of chips. It doesn't feel like anything. But when we allow ourselves to take those liberties, and we do that consistently over a year or over 3 years or over 5 years, the compound effect of that one liberty becomes visible. So if our goal is to hit, let's say 100 contacts in a week, just as a round number, and we start hitting 80, it's going to start looking like this guy, because let's say this is us at 100 contacts. And that's if we're hitting 100 contacts a week, we know that we're gonna close 20 deals a year. But we start taking a couple liberties because we start to get comfortable. And when you have a steady stream of income or a steady stream of deals and things are going well, you get the complacency and the habits start to go away a little bit because you're riding, you're coasting. And we end up being this guy. No change, but you can kind of ride what you have. And as soon as the liberties start to creep in, then this starts to happen. And you see agents that maybe had a successful business that start to go away or get out of the business, or a recession comes and things change all of a sudden. And the reason that happens and the reason that person falls off is because of liberties they've taken that have erased the habits that they've created. And that's not where we want to get. So that's going from, I'm doing my 100 contacts a day, I'm going on this many appointments, I'm creating the right habits, and all of a sudden I'm doing a little bit less, and then a little bit less. And over time, going from my 100 contacts a day to my 80 contacts a day takes me from this place to that place. On the flip side, if I decide that this is my status quo, but I'm going to increase just a little bit, and I'm going to continuously build habits that increase my behaviors, then over time, I'm going to get to this place. People use the overnight success. Someone blew up, or you have the stories of people that are doing hundreds and hundreds of real estate transactions overnight. But the reality is it was small habits that were created over a long period of time, which compounded into being here. And it could be something as small as taking my contact count from 80 a week to 120 a week, because I'm creating a little bit more value, and the return on the investment of the little bit more value that I'm creating turns into impact in dollars. But it may not be visible now, it might be visible 5 years from now. So my point in all of this is the intentionality with our tracking is not necessarily about just boiling it down to what do I need to do today, but it's giving us a baseline of this is what I'm doing to get this result. But I want us to think about if I can create habits that create more action, then what does 5 years look like if there's a little bit more action involved because of the habits that I've created? So then peeling the onion a little bit further, what are those habits and what are the important habits that I have to have in order to get myself there? So that can be anything, and obviously our rock sheet is designed to support those. But we want to make sure that the mindset that we have is surrounding that, but not just the mindset, the actions are willing to get us to here versus getting us to here. Nice and clean. Anyways, The Compound Effect. If you have time to read it, it's a wonderful book.